become dependent on space in a way that allows us to truly be global, to be untethered from global networks. We can be out on an oil rig in the middle of the ocean, we can be high in the Himalayas, we could be in a desert somewhere. We still expect today, and we can deliver broadband internet, which is great for commerce, but it also enables healthcare, it enables education, it enables services to far-flung communities all around the world. And so that's foundational to our society, and we don't want to back up and go back to a space age where we don't have those capabilities. In fact, there was an estimate recently that the space economy is worth somewhere close to $600 billion today, and that in the next several years that will likely trip over $1 trillion. So it's just a critical part of our overall economy. But perhaps more importantly to my line of work, it's critical to how we defend our nations. In the United States, we've spent 35 years learning how and figuring out how to execute operations in what we call a multi-domain fashion. That means when our Air Force, our Army, our Navy, our Marine Corps are operating, they operate with an assumption that they will have space capabilities. Things like satellite communications, global positioning, missile warning, as well as cyber capabilities. And all of that has to operate together. And we could not defend ourselves the way we did in World War II, for example, because we don't have the force structure, nor that the numbers of capabilities and equipment that we had back then, because today we're much more precise, lethal, and far-ranging because of our space capabilities. So it's absolutely foundational to how we defend our country, and because of that, we must defend those space capabilities to make sure that we don't lose them.
So in terms of, if you can also give this audience some concrete examples of recent conflicts where space enabled in the way conflicts are being fought, and in the way as commanders were conceptualizing those conflicts.
Well, in the United States way of operating, which is again all domain maneuver warfare, space is a foundational, fully integrated part of that. And as our chairman of the Joint Chiefs has highlighted in recent days and weeks, all of our U.S. military operations, including the most recent, have space capabilities completely integrated and layered in. Not only does that provide overwatch for our terrestrial forces, but it also provides us unique accesses and ways to open up their ability to operate early in a campaign. So I'm very proud of those capabilities and how we are fully part of that planning and integration and operations process.
General, one theme that we continue to hear is that space is becoming congested, competitive, etc. From an operational point of view, out of this, what does concern you most when you look at the dangers and the challenges that you face?
Yeah, what concerns me the most would be another C word, that it's contested today. And we have seen a number of international actors, such as China and Russia, move breathtakingly fast in space. You know, there are reports that Russia might be considering an anti-satellite weapon that they would place on orbit with a nuclear payload that would violate the Outer Space Treaty, and it would be an incredibly indiscriminate weapon. It would not precisely attack one country's capabilities, it would attack all countries' capabilities, whether that's the United States, India, Japan, Europe, China, and so we do not want to see that happen, and we'll not be able to tolerate that. China also has moved breathtakingly fast. They have developed a suite of counter-space weapons, everything from reversible jammers to hold at risk our satellite communications and GPS, to high-energy lasers, direct-to-send ASAT weapons, and even what we call co-orbital ASAT weapons. Those are satellites that can attack other satellites. And so those capabilities have been built for a reason, and of course we want to make sure that conflict does not begin in space or extend into space, and so we've got to watch that very carefully.
So General, is there a tipping point here, or when you think of space as a contested domain, is it still a calibration between competition and cooperation, or have you tipped in one side, especially on the contestation side, as you pointed out? Are you there yet, or are you waiting for the tipping point?
Well, I think in any domain, anywhere around the world, it is a balance of both. Now, space was birthed in great power competition. If you go back to 1957, when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, that was all about who was going to get to space first, and frankly, the Soviet Union won those early opening chapters. They launched the first object, they launched the first animal, the first man, the first man, and that created a crisis of confidence in my nation, and in response to that, we created NASA. We really accelerated our space program, and ultimately, Neil Armstrong walked out into the lunar surface in 1969, closing their space race, which the United States won. And even up to today, we've seen that it is a place that great powers are competing, but it's an incredible area for cooperation as well. We've seen that over the years, and certainly in the United States, we have a rich number of partners and allies that we operate together in space. Perhaps that's represented by the Artemis Accords, which is a NASA-led effort to have countries sign up to a series of principles about how we want to operate in space. And India is a signatory to that as well. And certainly on the military side,